A very good morning to all. A very good morning to all. Good morning. Oh, all right. Thank you. Thank you. I was about to say that. A very good morning to all professors, doctors, academics, students, everyone's that joining in these sessions today. It is a raining. It is a rainy morning. And today, to suit the mood, our sessions today will be quite casual. I was hoping, if you have time more in the end, probably we're going to do a little bit of exercise if you have time into that. But something that I find that in the previous experience, when I actually ask people to do some exercise, quite a number of the participants just left, just left the sessions. So well, we shall see lah onto that. A very good morning to all. Allow me to share my screen. So from there, will reintroduce myself and everything. Just a quick chat. If you are able to view my PowerPoint, if you're able to do that, please put in the chat to say that if you can hear me, you can see my face, and you can also view the PowerPoint slide, which is the right. Thank you. Thank you, Hazim. Thank you. So for today, all right. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Okay. Good morning, all. My name is William. I am a customer success partner from the Emerald Publishing based in Malaysia. Our office is in SS15, Subang Jaya, which is not too far away from Glen Mary, probably about 10-15 minutes away from Glen Mary itself. Today, we'll be going into this book publication workshop sessions. Not really a workshop, but to get to know what the book publishing processes, what to actually expect, and things like that. In today's sessions, we will be going through two parts. So book publishing overview, what is about Emerald Books, the format itself, the author guidelines, and definitely the most important one with the life cycle of a book from the proposal stage up to the publication stage. If you have time, we will be going into the completing the publisher proposal book form, and then the peer review process and the exercise. If you have a lot of time to do for exercise. Uh, all in all, as always, I am appreciate. I always say thank you to the team. Thank you to Encik Hazim, and also to Teaching and Learning Center TNL Center for organizing and getting you guys to join the sessions today. I also want to say a big thank you to Miss Lee from the Library and Academic Resources Department for helping to promote the events and also to get the William to be the speaker for the sessions. Any questions, feel free to put in the chat. I think you're all are allowed to unmute yourself. If you need to speak up, you may also do so. Without further ado, let's just to go back a little bit back on what we have gone through in the previous sessions. I think this is the third sessions overall and should be the last sessions for this year. In Emeralds, when we're talking about publications, there are several revenue or several routes that you can choose from. We know you can choose from the journal perspective, the normal one. You can do a research, you can write a literature review, you can do research case study, you can write about it, and then from there you can identify which journal that your research is able to fit into the journal itself. Once you identify that, make sure that you follow the journal aim and scope, the journal author guidelines before submitting to the journal itself. So that is just a recap. You can actually publish with Emerald. Uh, by now, if you have seen me before, if you have heard me in the previous sessions before, you will notice that I always say this, publish with Emerald is free. There is no publication fees that charge back to the author for you to publish with Emerald. So publish with Emerald subscription journal or Emerald open access journal. both are free. You do not need to pay APC to publish with Emerald. But being on the good side, there are also, there are also some consideration that you need to relook into that. Publish with Emerald, the acceptance rate, or I rather say the rejection rate, right? The rejection rate is almost about 70 to 80%, which means that the acceptance rate is only about 20+%, 20% acceptance rate for the journal. We are not the lowest if you were to compare with more high tier journal or the Q1 journal, Q2 journal. The acceptance rate would be even lower than that. Yeah. So that's for the journal to publish your paper, your research paper in Emerald Journal. We welcome you that. I welcome you to do that. Today we'll be talking about book, but before the book, I think the previous sessions we did have Prof. Hall. Prof. Hall journal, I think we have Prof. Gary and Dr. Jason from UCSI as the guest speaker. For case study collections, we have Prof. Ho Joanne from UPM, where she share about writing teaching cases and how to write teaching cases, how to use teaching cases, how to publish teaching cases with Emerald. In Emerald, we also have our teaching cases journal, which is called the Emerald Emerging Market Case Study, EMCS. EMCS, Emerging Market Case Study itself, published in Emerald Case Studies is also free. You do not need to pay to publish with cases. And I think UOW Malaysia also have 2-year, previous 2-year, 2016 and 2017, if I'm mistaken, 2-year cases journal that you can access to. You can access, you can download the case for the student to read. You can also download the teaching note so that you can familiarize with the teaching guideline and how you can make use of the questions and the answers, which group are suitable, how do you define, how do you plan, the discussion or make it into assignment, format. So you can use that in your teaching and learning as well. We also have our Emerald Open Research. Now, this is the only revenue that you need to pay to publish. Emerald Open Research is basically an open access gateway that specifically research on the SDG and policy making paper. So these are actually targeting the UN, the government, the policymakers of the day, and these are the research that would be, get into their reading, their references. To publish into here, there is an APC that you need to pay into that. It's still very new. I think we have launched this in 2019. So it's still a very new piece, and we are still growing this particular gateway. Today, we'll be talking about book. Publish book with Emerald is free. You do not need to pay to publish a book with Emerald. And to give you some incentive early in the morning, publish with Emerald. If you have a book edited by you, edited simply means that you are the book editor, edited by you, you will also get a royalty when this book has been, sold. Once the book has been sold, when there's a sales revenue on your book itself, you also get a royalty, and the book shall be indexed in Scopus as well. So if you wanted to publish a book and if you wish to have the book indexed in Scopus, please, you can consider Emerald too. So today we'll be talking about book publication and why publish a book. I don't think I will need to convince you much. There are so many reasons behind publish a book. So many good reasons. First of all, the book formats, they are multiple publishing format and multiple time frame itself. There are a different formatting of books that Emerald actually has. We do have this scholarly monograph, which means a research book itself that actually probably have about 80,000 words in total. So this is a research book. Edited collection simply means our series. So if you do not want to publish a single book, if you would like to tap into our existing series of book, you may also do so. You can actually write in and propose your proposal, or what do you want to propose in the next series of the theme, yeah, of that particular collection. We also have short form book. Short form book simply means that around 40,000 words, not too long. So scholarly monograph is around about 80,000 words, while short form books normally about 40,000 words, about half of it. So, and also we have a few different short form by a single published book, or we also have a series which is called the Emerald Point. Emerald Point series has been well known. I mean, it's a well-known series collections where they specifically talk about hand guide book, hand guide on tourism, example, hand guide on accounting, accountability, or auditing, handbook on several other things as well, marketing, and so on and so. Professional books normally refers more on the practicality or more on the industry level. So it's not so much on the research in specific. It's not so much on the methodology, but it can talk about as an example, it can talk about autonomous driving. It can talk about autonomous driving, which means that apa tu? Without driver, driving a car without the driver, autopilot car, something like that, right? Professional book about Donald Trump, so these are some of the professional books that written not on the academic perspective, but on the general, or towards the politic perspective, or towards industry specific perspective, right? Book publishing process, what do you need to do? We will go through into that. First of all, you need to complete the book proposal form and submit to Emerald. You can either send it to me or you can send it to our UK team directly. Your proposal will then be sent out to the subject specialist for the single blind peer review process. So instead of the book write up itself, the proposal form itself would be peer reviewed. So once it has gone through the peer review and also the revision, so once the revision has been completed, it will then hopefully be accepted. Then you can actually start to get your book authors, get your friends from other countries, friends from the other field to actually contribute to your chapter. So once you actually got them to contribute in the chapters, once your whole book is being compiled accordingly, then you will over here you will need to set a deadline for your contributors. 6 to 8 weeks extra. Most of the time it's actually delayed. Most of the author will delay in sending that. So once you have all these things, and then you will then be able to compile that together. Depends on your book proposal forms, either the 80,000 words book, or 20 up to 50,000 words for the short form books. So it depends on how many depends on the proposal form itself. You can then compile according to your chapter. So once all this has been done, it will then send it to the production processes, where it includes the copy editing, typesetting, indexing, and also the design of the book cover. So book cover designs is also covered by the Emerald team. So once published, our sales and marketing team will then promote the book through all our sales channel. So this is just a rough idea on what the book publishing process is. UOW Malaysia does has access to a lot of digital books out there. I think from if I'm mistaken, from ProQuest, there's so many books there. From Emerald, if we also have a little bit, yeah, not too much. We also have a few of our open access books where you do not need to have a subscription. You can actually read, you can actually download. So these are some of the example. Example would be social media use in crisis and risk communication, designing environments with people with dementia. If you can see, this is Emerald Point. Emerald Point, which is a short form book. Yeah. So emergence of cross innovation system, video games, crime, and next gen deviance. Also another Emerald Point. Young children play practices with digital tablets. Oh, okay. This is for the younger children education. Yeah. Proceeding series. Okay. In Emerald, we do not publish proceeding paper. Yeah. I think this is a bit unique in the sense that it's an open access book. I would assume the conference actually pay a certain amount of fees to Emerald so that they can compile their proceedings into a booklet format and publish that into a book form. To publish an open access book in Emerald, you need to pay. I do not remember how much, but if you need to know that, you can either Google it or I can send you the information later on, right? So a working woman in the sandwich generation, all right, interesting. Organizing and for societal grand challenges. Now, if you see this is the series. So this is a series book. Normally our series book cover is not the best design ever. if you see a good design over here, this is more on the standalone book. So this design normally is our series book, not the best design ever. Yeah. So just to let you know, just to share with the audience today, you can explore some of Emerald ebooks, which is available at open access. Open access, which simply means that you can actually read, you can also download. So some of these books over here. All right. About books in Emerald itself, our books basically has been around for many years, but we basically reform and relaunch our program in 2016. In the current year basis, we have about 350 books per year, new book per year, 350 or more. So last year we have about last year we have about 350. Last year I have 350, and this year we're also targeting 350 new book by year basis. Something for you to consider if you would like to publish a book, do look for a publisher where they have set a number of books they would like to publish in a year itself. From there, you will know roughly would you have a chance to publish in this year or following next year. Most of the process in terms of book publications will actually takes almost about a year time frame. So example, if you're targeting for next year, so right now it would be a good time for you to submit your book proposal form. But if you're targeting this year, I can basically say that it's too late. It is super late for you to targeting this year. Probably next year, I think that would be still a chance for it. If not, it will be either the following 2 years. Yeah. So innovative formats and book types, including open access. Open access, basically you need to pay for it. If it's the normal book itself, you do not need to pay. Yeah. So committed and up to and driven by supporting research in achieving impact. So this simply means that in Emerald, we do not simply publish any kind of book. That's why the book proposal form is not always accepted. There are also rejections to the book proposal forms. Our publishing directions is gearing towards supporting research that prove research impact and prove a community engagement, prove impact to the research impact to prove a research impact that actually make over there. we do not publish novelty books. So if you're writing Harry Potter, or you're writing apa tu? You're writing anything novelty books. So I'm so sorry. Emerald is not the publisher for it. If you are writing a textbook, again, textbook is not on research specific. So textbook is not something that Emerald is looking towards to. So Emerald is actually looking and support books that driven research that has impact. All right. From year to year itself, we have 2017 onwards, we have multiple award-winning books until last year. Truly, we actually reached all ones. I mean, Emerald Books has reached basically global international market. And more than 1.1 million books has been downloaded just in 2020 itself. Just to give you an idea about Malaysia, stakeholder and the usage. Book contributor from Malaysia, if you from see that, so 97% are book authors, while 1% is editor. So what's the difference between editor and book author? Yeah. So editor simply means that you are the book owner. That book basically has your name on it, while authors mainly would be referring to the book chapter, the chapter authors over here. You can see that there are a lot of chapter authors coming from Malaysia. We also have a few that contributed as a reviewer for, all right, okay. Reviewer for our book review as well. So in terms of top downloads in Malaysia from 2016 to 2021, you can see the highest will be coming from the UITM, Mara. Then SAGI, which is not too far behind, 55,000 from the past 5 years. UTM, 23,000, UPM, UMT, mainly would be all the private university, except for SAGI and also from the MSU, right? These are some of the example of books that published. Either they are book edited by Emerald, book edited by Malaysian author. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Dr. Tan. And so, right, so these are some of the books over here. Right, I also wanted to mention, Emerald Book is not just about social sciences. Emerald Book also covers on the IT and engineering. We may not be, we may not have a lot of books on the engineering perspective or on the technical perspective, but we do actually have that on a niche perspective that talking about research and the research impact. Most of our books are actually on the social sciences, because Emerald is Emerald mainly are on the social sciences itself, business management, strategy books, accounting. Coming from Malaysia, I don't think you will be surprised, but quite a number of our Malaysian editor and Malaysian book authors focuses more on the Islamic finance and Islamic marketing. So these are some of the examples. I think this from MMU, you can see this. I know this is a bit too small font for you to read, but I'll just read out, like MMU, from UMT, from UMS. So these are the book editor, and they publish a Emerald Point book, which is on issues and challenges in the Malaysian economy. Then there's another one from Prof. Umar, Dr. Umar, sorry, from International Islamic Liquidity Management Corporation. If I'm mistaken, should be part of IIUM. All right, yeah, Dr. Rusni also from IIUM, which is published a book on emerging issues in Islamic finance, law, and practice in Malaysia. Right. So some of the other books that have written, as a book chapter, example like recent development in Asian economic, universities, and entrepreneurship. So, yeah. the click pula. So right, so these are some of the examples of accident. Where's my PowerPoint? Right. So some of the books are designed with the NOR. I think not too sure what's NOR. Modeling economic growth in contemporary Malaysia. CSR, international education, multi-channel marketing, entrepreneurship, journalism, retail futures, sustainable development, leadership and strategies in higher education. I think this is from Sunway University, supporting and sustaining well-being in the workplace. So these are some of the books that either book edited by Malaysian authors or the book chapters are contributed by Malaysian authors. Yeah, this is just some of few examples. Some of the award-winning books that I actually mentioned earlier. So the one that I actually remember vividly would be the autonomous driving book on how the driverless revolution will change the world. So these are one of our best seller and also our award-winning book itself. So some of the award-winning books which is on the economy side, example, Investment Trap. Then another one, there's another one on the accounting. I think it's not displayed over here. So another one on accounting, also award-winning book. So this is about teamwork, leadership, century of science, yeah, strategic communications, leadership again, technology taker in the digital era, probably about IT. Expand, grow, thrive. I think more on the business and the entrepreneurship. Broken pie chart probably would be on investment, which is economic. Stored revolutions, which is equality for women. So probably this would be on gender. One thing, if there's any participants that has research focus on gender inequality, please consider Emerald. Emerald is a big fan, is a big supporter towards the gender inequality and education quality for all. So if you are in this particular field, please reach out to me or reach out to the Emerald team. We can actually propose either a standalone book or collections of books on this particular topic. Yeah. Handbook on information management. I think this is on the IT again. Right. So this is just some of the example. I'm actually doing a bit of introductions just to give you an idea what books that currently in the Emerald Holdings itself. Then we'll go into the book publication process, right? So we have two portfolios that covering 10 subject collections. Last year, I think it's more than 2,900 titles. I think this year we have more than 3,006 title all together right now, that including from the business management and economics perspective, this portfolio that covers the banking, the management, the strategy, the accounting, and also social sciences on the gender, on the education, on the criminology and psychology as well, right? So just to give you an example on the BME side, which is a business management economic portfolio, you can see that it covers on the accounting, finance, economic, the business management and strategy. It's not just about business management. It can be management in the IT, management in the health and social care, management on the engineering perspective, yeah. HR, learning, organization studies, library, marketing, public policy, and also tourism and hospitality management. There are a lot. Polytechnic Malaysia basically subscribes to the tourism's ebook. All the tourism ebooks are from Emerald. I think a few that caught my interest would be the space tourism. Apa lagi ya? Space tourism, which is interesting. I have no idea what is that. Space tourism and future tourism. Of course, nowadays people, most of scholars that I know, they talk about responsible tourism, right? Responsible management, responsible consumptions, and all of this. So these are some things that the Emerald Publishing, the Emerald direction is heading. If you are also in this particular field, yeah, you can consider to publish a book on that, right? Sorry, social sciences, where you can actually have a look, which is more on the education and the sociology, which is on the education perspective, gender studies, criminology, social media, mental health, and also psychology. We are a big topic on psychology as well too. So well, all about educations and also the sociology perspective. All right. Well, sorry, I think I just book publishing, how it different from journal and cases. Good thing. The number of lengths, you probably may not able to write as much as you want in a journal article, definitely not in a teaching cases. But if you like to talk about framework, if you talk about the conceptual diagram, talking about if you want to elaborate more into that, if you want to reach out to more people, I think publish a book would be something that for you to actually consider. You can actually write I mean, a book itself can actually cater up to 80,000 words. Of course, you may not able to write 80,000 words in a chapter, but you can probably break it down into several chapters. Then you can actually expand your argument or your conceptual things itself. For me, myself, something that I would see a good point is that you do not basically need to stress or justify on the methodology. You probably would need to look into a lot of research, yeah, technical writing in nature, about literature review, about methodology, about findings. These are some things that the book may not necessarily required. You can just talk about a conceptual and discuss about it. Yeah. So this is a flexibility and also how you can actually. These are some of the advantages that you can a book publishing actually have compared with the journal research publication. So flexibility, it can be in a short form, it can be in a long form book. Interdisciplinary, what I like best about book is that I do have some other example. Oh my goodness, I forgot her name. I actually recently helped one UIA sociology doctor to get her book proposal accepted. Yeah, she actually wrote about politics during the pandemic time itself. Her idea would be that, but from there we actually expand that to the Southeast Asia, where we can get some book book writers from the Singapore and also from the Indonesia perspective. It can be interdisciplinary. It can also be inter countries related. So it gives you more networking opportunity to reach out to some book authors or some gurus out there that you would like to work together. So this is actually for it's a good chance for you to reach out to the other writers as well. Definitely, profiles. Writing a books are quite different. You can see from Google Scholars all which are the journal articles that have been published into them. Once you get into publish a book, if you have a book under your portfolio or under your historical records, that will actually give you a different profile level. Yeah. So that are some of the advantages from thesis to book. Very few. This is some questions that probably you may want to ask. Yeah, can I actually convert thesis into a book format? In Emerald, our answers normally is no. In fact, not just in Emerald, very few, very few international or reputable book publishers would like to take thesis and then convert it into a book format. So the reason why is because, in terms of business perspective, as a publisher, we hope that the book that being published by you, published by us together, would have sales, would have sales value, would have sales, prospect into that. It's not just about publish a book. What is next after a book has been published? What do you do after you have published a book? Definitely, you would like to promote about your book. You would like to get more people either read about the book, read about a few chapters about your book, or even sell your book into them. It's the same objective that we actually have in the publisher perspective. Again, about a thesis. So most of the thesis may not have such what you call that, such evidence, or such confidence that it can be translated into money and dollar, money and cents, money and cent into that. So when you were to ask about your research to publish a book, you will need to think, these are some of the things. How long would you like to spend your time to edit the book and also to get the book chapters, authors to write about the book? Half a year, 6 months down the time, 1 year, 2 years times into that. What are the topics that we would like to cover? Is it only one topic, or is it multiple interdisciplinary? Who are the what are the how can this basically help your career, or how can this basically help to network you yourself with the other people, and how do you ask the author and also the publisher market this particular book, right? Which publisher? It can be with Emerald, it can be with so many others. If I still remember my time, I used to get McGraw-Hill, I used to get Pearson, these are some of the books, ataupun Oxford Fajar dan sebagainya. So different type of publisher would focus different type of book. So you would need to search for the correct publisher, or I would say the most comfortable publisher that you like to publish a book with. With Emerald, again and again, probably you have heard this, we actually focuses on the research that contributes to impact, research impact, community engagement, impacts to the society, impacts to the UN SDG, so to speak, for example. To know which publisher would have, to know the publisher directions, I would advise you strongly, to actually go into the publisher, read about the publisher. Most of publisher would have goals, would have their mission, or their, their directions. Understand the publisher directions and their goal. From there, you will see that what are their focus area, right? Book author guidelines. So these are some of the book author guidelines. They are really long guidelines. So once you click onto this here, you will be brought to, I'll share this slides to Encik Hazim later. I'll need Encik Hazim help to share that to the audience today. So once you are in this here, we have some guides to publish a book, which is this link. I can copy this link. I can then place that into the chat. If you would like to have a look, you can also have a look into that. So over here, you can see to prepare your book proposals, you need to know what book that you would like to, what book that you would like to, what type of book that you are targeting. Is it a short form? Is it a long form book? The submission deadline and so on. And get in touch with our UK team, our book commissioning team. So Charlotte, which is our head of our book divisions. Most of the time you may be talking to either Kimberly or Nick Warwick. some of these would be able to help you as well. Fiona, Katie, and Iram will be able to help in terms of this particular others, book editing, and also some of the particular processes. All right. So our books, as I was saying again, is about 80,000 books. For short forms, it can be as short as 20,000 words. Sorry, 20,000 words, a typo over here, 20,000 words up to 50,000 words itself. All right. So what is this particular process? Oh my goodness, the is quite blur. Yeah. Let me just bring this up. It is quite blur. To publish a book. So over here, let me just quickly, right, here you go. So this is the publishing book process, which is, how do I copy this? Just 1 minute, yeah. Right, here we go. I hope it is, oh, so much better. Right. So, right. So how do you publish a book now? We're actually going through into the cycle of book publishing. Book publishing is very similar across all the publisher. You can basically adopt the similarity that you are hearing right now with the other publisher as well. But it is not entirely 100% the same. Generally, you can understand the process would be similar. So in Emerald, so what do we need to do? First of all, you need to get the book proposal form. I can send you the form. I have the form with me over here. So this is the example of the particular form, new book proposal form. I'll go through the form in the next sections. So once you have filled in the form itself, you will then submit the proposal form to the Emerald team. You can either send it to me for me to have a quick proofread. I mean quick reading into that, or perhaps a quick revision. Yeah. Sometimes we hope to actually help to improve the proposal before it get into the UK team. Right, so that sometimes I also write some recommendations, good recommendations why the Emerald would like to accept this book proposal form. Right, so once you actually submit to the UK team or submit to me myself, our UK team will then send to at least 3 internal, to the external reviewer. So once you submit, our internal editorial review, my apology. So this is our UK team. Our UK team will quickly assess the proposal and see does it fit to the publishing directions. If it's yes, then it will be considered. If it's not, then it will be, either rejected or they will actually ask more questions to clarify that. I hope it's actually get past our UK team. So once our UK publishing team has agreed to send it to the review process, we will then send it to the external peer review. Normally, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks, and it will take 3 external reviewer, which is a single blind peer review. It's not going to be double blind, it will be a single blind peer review process. In my experience, it takes almost about 3 to 4 weeks in my experience for them to actually revert back the review. So which is quite okay. So once the peer review has been submitted by the reviewer, it will then send it to our UK team. Our UK team will then read the reviewer comments, and then they will make a decision, right, whether to proceed or to revise. If it's either to reject or to revise to proceed. If the reject simply means that there would probably 3 out of 3 reviewer may feel that the proposal form is not strong enough, hence the rejections. So the UK team may follow the recommendations and reject. But if there is a difference, in my experience, I actually got one actually support the proposal, one actually reject the proposal, and another one actually ask for major revision. So what happened is that I actually talked to the UK team, and I talked to the book editor willing to change their proposals to to not to say fit, but to improve from them on. So it really depends on the book editor such as you. Are you willing to make the changes, to spend some time to look into these particular changes and discuss with your group of book editor? So over here, once the review has been given, if there's a revision required, most of the time revision is required. So once a revision is required, you will then need to resubmit again the proposal form to the reviewer. The reviewer will then give their feedback and their recommendations, and this would probably takes a few more weeks to actually complete. So once this is actually completed, the UK, if okay, they will then say they will actually proceed with your proposal, which is a good news. So once UK say okay to proceed, then your proposal has been accepted. Our UK team will then actually establish a contract between the Emerald and also the book editor or book editors. In the book editor and editors, the contract will also enlist who are the book editors, the terms, the durations of the time that you are targeting, how many words are there. They also talk about the royalty of the sales, the delivery dates of the manuscript, and the closing when this book shall be published, and so and so. All right. So this would be on the contract. So once the contract has been signed off, from here you will need to start to write your book. As a book editor, if you are the book editor yourself, you will need to find the contributor. You need to find the book chapter contributor. You need to reach out to the book chapter. You need to reach out to book. You need to reach out to other writers from interdisciplinary or from the other countries for them to contribute to your chapter itself. Then over here you'll be playing a manager role. You'll need to constantly check and remind them about their timeline, because timeline is very important here. Most of the feedback or most of the experience that I received would be a book. Most of the book that been delayed in production is actually because it has been delayed by the book chapter contributor. Book chapter contributor are given 2 months time. But in the end, they took almost 4 months, if not even more than 4 months to complete a chapter. So being a book editor, you are the manager of the book. You will need to constantly remind them to quickly submit. So from there, you will also need to be the reviewer yourself. Not only the book editor, the manager, you also need to be the book reviewer. You also need to read through, proofread the chapter given by your contributor. So you as an editor, book editor, you also need to review, you also need to make the final review of the manuscript, the chapter given by your book author before it goes into editorial team. In Emerald, I am happy and glad to say that our editorial team in UK will also have a simple read through on the final manuscript. It is not the best service provided, but however, this actually helps to check a final read on the typo, on the formattings, on some of these particular written error over them. Over here, you may also engage other services if you would like to improve the writing skill, the writing quality of all the manuscript given, you may also do so at your own expenses. Yeah. So once the manuscript have been submitted to you, you will then need to compile into a book manuscript format. From there, you will then send it to the Emerald team, to our system. So the book will then go through the copy editing, the typesetting, the indexings. Emerald will also provide design the cover book, and also we will be assigning the DOI to each of the book chapter. So for one book, and also for each of the book chapter, there will be a unique DOI, so that a chapter can be downloaded individually, and it can be also downloaded as one whole book itself. So the production probably will take about 3 months times, normally between 3 to 6 months, but from our experience, it's probably about 3 months times. The productions would be completed into that. And then once the production has been completed, it will then be published in the Emerald platform. Our sales and marketing team, example, our site here and our marketing cloud would then promote about the book. We will then put them into the sales channel, example, in the Amazon, our bookstores, so that it can be sell accordingly. So of course, publications, you will also get a free copy of the book. You will need to ask from the UK team. The UK team would be able to send you a copy of a hard copy, a copy of the hard copy of the book itself. You can also have the access, to the PDF copy of the particular book too. All right. So basically, this is the publishing process. Any questions so far? And anyone has published a book before? If you have published a book before, is this the experience that you are? I mean, is this particular process that you have experienced before? Is this the same as you have experienced before, or is this something different from what you have gone through in the previous one? Anyone has any comment or so? Still inside the sessions, yeah? Not sleeping yet, huh? Harap tak tidur, yeah. So yep. So we were going through the proposal and also the more or less the same. Okay, all right. Thank you, Dr. Romsey. More or less the same. What would be the difference from your experience, Dr. Romsey, if you are able to share a few, share from your experience? What would be a difference process so far that you see?
Hello.
Yeah.
Morning, William. Yeah.
Good morning.
Nice to hear from you. I did not publish a book, but it is
Right.
a chapter of a book.
A chapter of the book, right?
A chapter of the book, yeah. Because
Right.
most of the thing sometimes are some issues when we are trying to publish especially a chapter in a book, because it's involved many authors.
Right.
Especially, so that is something that also maybe if let's say you have some point, maybe you might want to clarify that as well. If let's say we have multiple authors,
Right. Exactly.
Those are some of the things that we find a bit hard to decide lah.
Exactly.
It can also create it can also create a conflict as well.
Unnecessary conflict in between.
Yes, unnecessary conflict in
Unnecessary.
between all the
Yes.
authors.
Yes.
Those are our primary concern every time that we would like to publish a book. But we need resources, but we cannot just limit on one or two authors. Let's say, for example, I need 5 authors to be involved. Right. So those are the things that to share my experience lah when we had this publishing a book before.
Right.
But honestly, I have not published a single book on my own yet. Well, that is what I'm looking forward to. How do we go about doing
that
it?
would be
Let's
good.
say, for example. So, but still, that can be quite a challenging thing based on your explanation just now. It is more or less towards research impact. Sometimes we have a certain theory that we would like to bring it up, but
Right.
however, it is very hard actually. It's tough actually to get it accepted by a publisher.
Right,
So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. In
So
fact, if I may, I want to say thank you to you first before I
yeah.
forget. Thank you for your sharing. But there are two things that I would like to echo to what you say. Totally agree on what you have mentioned. That the first thing would be on the the authors lah, yeah, the authors and the unnecessary conflict that we talk about. I'm not too sure about book chapter conflict, but I do aware that they are conflict on book editor. Book editor simply means that example this, yeah, I'll just quickly bring this up. So right, this is our Emerald bookstore. 3,000, sorry, almost 4,000 books are all over here. You can just go into the subjects. Let me just quickly zoom in so you can have a bigger view. So right, so over here, you can see you can go by the subject definitions, or you can go into our series to have a look in what series that we actually have under the particular subject category, right? So example, if I want to do a search called Islamic, I always like to do this because this is something that I would recommend to our library in Malaysia. Example this. So if you're going to see this, all right, this is not a too good example, but you can see this is only one book editor, Asmat Abdul Rahman, yeah, which is the only one from UM. So he's the one book editor, yeah. So if you can see, there could be more than one. Wow, how come all is only one? I think this is three, right? Yeah, there are three over here. But the first is Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, which is the first one, the second, and the third. So what I'm trying to actually explain over here is that the book recognition. If I understand correctly, a book chapter may not able to recognize some of the Scopus index if the books is indexed in Scopus, but it's only recognized for the book editor only. So the book editor, Dr. Umar, example, right, Kabir and Rusni would have this particular recognition, and of course the first name, the first book editor would be Dr. Umar itself. So over here the questions is always coming: how many book editor can a book can accommodate? It's only that much. It's either one, between 2 3. The most I've seen before is around about 6 book editor, and even 6 I think is a bit too much. So this is so-called some of the conversations and discussions, as you mentioned, that would required. So this is just something that I wanted to share on my first part. And the second one, which is on the Emerald directions. Emerald directions is focusing on the research impact, as I mentioned earlier, and you also pointed out on that too, research impact. That is correct. Besides that, besides just purely on research impact can be illustrated in 1 or 2 chapters. There are some chapters that may not require to illustrate the research impact, if you got what I meant. So some chapters could be talking about the introductory perspective, or the framework perspective, the conceptual perspective. Some chapter could be focusing on the impact, the impact of it, or the after the futuristic of the particular thing. So it's actually how we can design our book itself. It can be 10 chapters. You can actually break down into like 10 chapters or 15 chapters for a book, or I would always recommend this particular strategy, or you can actually break it down into 4 three or four or five different category, and each of the category can have 2 or 3 chapters, right? So example, one category will be talking about the let's say the first category, let's say the book is about green CSR, right? So the first category we can talk about CSR. The second category we can talk about responsible consumptions. The third one we talk about green initiative, and under each of this particular category it can be 3 chapters under that. So a book itself is a blank piece of paper, is how we can propose into that, how we can actually imagine and bring it to the publisher and do that. So there are many ways into that. I understand, because on the conceptual wise and also the framework, the previous proposal book that I got, right, I always saw a lot of framework that being put into that. Many. Yes,
Mr. William,
sir.
can I just
Yes.
interrupt? What about
Yes.
book translation? Because
Mm.
just to share as well from my
Mm.
past challenges, I would say, because the book that we are writing is published in Europe, and we of course we are writing it in English, but however it was translated into French because it is meant for
Okay.
European market, but we are having some difficulties of getting a translator and to get it translated, and publish it across the all over the world, because we don't
Understood.
have any
We
experience at that time.
exactly.
So it start there with the French version, and that's it. So, and then it's involved more than 10 authors,
Right.
because
Wow.
because it is still a book chapter. So we have written some of the part, three parts, not mistaken. Yeah. And we managed to publish it, but we publish it in Europe and
That
sold
would be
in
good.
Amazon.com and whatnot. But however, during that time, we are having some difficulties in getting an English editors to make sure that it can publish. It quite costly for us lah, because we don't have a budget for
Right.
that at that time.
Right. Right.
So
I
anything that Emerald can help out, maybe, or anything that we can do for
right.
future.
To answer, I could not answer your experience, right? Because I think you already have that. It's really costly, and it's also headache lah, because translation may not be the same after it has been translated, especially some of the terms that being used into that. I think you understand that more than me. In Emerald, our medium is only English. So we only use English as our medium. There are no translations to the other languages. But what I do have questions from the floor previously in the previous workshop webinar is that they actually wrote in Bahasa, Malaysia lah, from Malaysia. They actually written that in Bahasa, and they wanted to publish in Emerald. Nanti I beritahu, in Emerald we only accept English. Then they would ask the same questions in a different way. They have that prepared in BM. They would like to translate in English. How can they actually do that? I may not able to answer them correctly. My answer is always to get to say that probably you would need to get someone that are really good in English writings, or to actually do that particular translation from BM to English, or you probably would need to engage a third party, or else the most ideal the ideal way is to get someone from the language department, from the language teacher, someone that able to do that, be part of the team, and send the task to him or to her to do this particular translation job. So they are basically that lah. But I may not answer you, but I just want to say that in Emerald, our medium is actually English. So written in English format would be the safest at all.
Yeah, thanks, Philip. Yeah.
No, not at all. Wow, which is good.
Yeah.
Mahathir, right, was actually saying ITBM regarding translation, which is good. May I ask what is ITBM? I'm not too familiar with the term. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Mahathir, for for suggesting that. Oh, interesting. Institute Terjemahan Bahasa Malaysia. Are they able to actually help to translate from, not Dr. Yeah, okay, all right. Thank you, thank you. Are they able to translate from the BM to English? Is that what you mean? Just want to, confirm my understanding. They are able to convert. They need able to translate from the BM to the English version. They can translate to a lot of languages. Oh, all right. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you. Thank you for the, thank you for the sharing. All right. Let's move on then. So now, for those that have interest in, writing a book itself, you have gone through I hope that you understand the process. So the publishing process for a book, very different from case and very different from journal. From journal, basically the peer review is your manuscript, while for the book itself, the peer review is actually your proposal, right? So this is one of the key main difference. Now we'll go into the proposal. Since proposal would require the peer review, hence we'll go into the proposal. The proposal is actually where we would need to learn how to be best of it lah, to get past this lah. So once your proposal pass, dah lega dah. We actually lega. It's actually not too difficult. I would say it's actually not too difficult to get past the proposal. I have helped almost about four book proposal. I think 3 of them get passed. One is still working on into that. So I think it's not too bad lah. So first step, definitely to actually identify the right publisher. I think I've repeated that. Not all every publisher have their own publishing directions. Some publish textbook, some publish apa tu? The novelty book, right? The novelty book. Some like us publish the academic books. Some publish only the public knowledge about McDonald's lah, KFC lah, Donald Trump books and things like that. So different publisher has different publishing directions. You need to find the right publisher for your book proposal. So how do you do that? You can either talk to the commission editor, either from conference or the virtual workshop such as this. Get their email, get their phone. You can actually ask them for their advice. You can actually tell them that I have this particular idea. I may not have proposal yet. Pun boleh ya. Some they just send me some of the idea in a written format. I just send it to UK and ask them for their idea. Ask them for the comment on this particular idea. If this particular idea is something that the Emerald team is looking forward, then they will then move on to the proposal itself. We can also do that too. So download the publisher proposal form. Sure. Publisher that I know lah, yang international publisher that I know of do have their own proposal form, but each publisher has proposal form format. You need to get the form, you need to complete that. You may, if you have a sample chapter, you can actually submit along a sample chapter. If you do not have it, you can do a abstract of this particular chapter. You can also submit that. But the most important part would be the book outline. You will need to identify, you need to write down, you need to also elaborate your book outline. Chapter 1, don't write chapter 1, the title is in chapter 1 introductions. Don't just write that chapter 1 introduction. Don't please write chapter 1 introductions. Then you can write either a summary, or you can provide a short abstract format into that to actually explain what that particular chapter. In Emerald, you do not necessarily need to submit a chapter, but the peer reviewer does not know what this chapter means unless they are able to read something. So if you were just to provide the title of the chapter, it does not help the reviewer. It does not help your proposal. So please, put some efforts into the outline. I'll go more into that. So completing the publisher proposals are some of the tips. The descriptions, short summary, be clear and concise. You do need to putar belit. You do not need to write too many nouns and pronouns and sebagainya. Just keep it clear, short and simple. Peer reviewer, they also do not have too much time to read the proposal form. So avoid the jargon. I think this is very straightforward. Bear in mind your proposal form will be read by different people, and also it may be different field as well. It could be from the same field but different measure. What I mean is that, example, if your book is actually on the tourism, it could be on, responsible tourism, or it could be urban tourism. It could be on, other tourism disciplinary perspective. So it could be a different different people from different field as well. So just be clear and be concise and be simple. If possible, give as much detail for each of the chapter that you are recommending. They actually put in so that it can help the peer reviewer to understand, to help the editor, the commercial editor from UK, understand what is your chapter is all about. That's why you will hear me keep repeating this. Do not just write down the outline. Yeah, the outline is like, chapter 1, introduction, chapter 2, literature review. Don't do that. Definitely get rejected. Definitely will get rejected. Do put in either a summary, or if you have an abstract of it, just write abstract. This is just to provide information for the reviewer to understand what this book and their chapter is all about. Okay, market and competitions. Now this may not be relevant to you, but it's actually important to any publisher. To publisher, a book is a bread and butter to us. Once we got the book, we also need to promote. We need to promote the book. We also need to sell the book. So a book is basically the value that we are actually promoting. If the book got are able to get a certain award competitions, that book would be even greater value, where we hope it can be. So market and competitions is something for you to consider. So be realistic. I may not be wrong on this, but I wanted to say this upfront. I believe book there is no, sorry, how should I say that? It's very rare to get a unique book out there. Most of the book that you have in mind, or the book that you're trying to propose, right? Some of it are already out there in the market. It's not going to be entirely 100% new book on a new topic, on a new concept, on a new something. I have not seen that. I could be wrong. What I'm trying to say is that most of the book proposal form out there, or most of the book right now, are touching on several topics that already have been published out there. Hence, this is actually what you mean by the competition. How can your book compete with the other books that have been published out there? How do you, compete that? How can you make the book has the unique selling point, USP? So be realistic. Please do acknowledge. I mean, if you acknowledge if you agree, and if you acknowledge that your book proposal, your book, the purpose of your book is not 100% new. It has elements that have been published in different books out there. You do acknowledge into that, and then you perhaps wanted to explain how your book would be different from them. It may have some elements, but it could be focusing on the impact. It maybe have some elements, but it could be focusing on the future directions. These are something different, something that for you to look into. Why do I say that I believe that? It's because myself, I have read the reviewer comment. The reviewer that are really good at what they at what they did, a very a good reviewer, they will go into Google, they will go into Google Scholar, they will then search for what are the books out there in the recent year, in the last 3 years to 5 years. What are the books out there that match the book that you propose? They will give the list, and then they will actually make a few to compare. So you, before the reviewer do that, my advice for you is that please do that on your own first, because the reviewer will do that. The reviewer will go to the Google and Google the list of the books out there that have the similar elements or the similar topics, and then they will compare that with your book. They do not want to undermine your book proposal, but they do question why do we need to publish the same book that already out there? It doesn't make sense. A book is already, a same book, or a 90% or 80% books are already out there. So why are we still wants to publish the same thing? So these are things that we need to do some homework, yeah, before I mean during completing of the book proposal. So list down the books out there that you would think is a competitor to your book, and be very clear how your book is different to them. So make some adjustment. Example, what I could actually offer would be, example, in Emerald, we're talking about research impact. You have been hearing me talking about this a few times. So probably some elements that have been published in another book, but our book focuses on the post of it, on the after the research, the impact of that, the research impact, or the on the commercial impact, on the societal impact, on the contributions to the UN SDG, which it did not cover in that particular book. So these are something that you would like to focus into that. You can include the elements in this book, but the focuses is not on the element, the focuses will be on the other. Now that is the distinction that you would like to be clear, and there's one that is actually where you would like to be out of the competition. So saying that there's no competition is not helpful, because it's unlikely. It's very rare to. I have not seen one. In fact, it's actually very rare to unless it's Harry Potter book lah. Even Harry Potter also have Fantastic Beasts ma. After Harry Potter put other Fantastic Beasts and sebagainya, then they want to do prequel lah, sequel lah. So it's not. It's rare lah. I hope you actually understand that. So saying non-competition is not helping you yourself. Understand what books out there is competing to your title. Be realistic into that. Be clear, and quickly make a distinction into that. That is the way to help your proposal and to win the book edit the publisher, so that the publisher would be convinced that your book has a selling value, right? The book titles, be clear and be concise, and also reflect the content. If you were to see book title from Emerald, using Emerald as an example, right? The book title normally is quite short lah. It's not long. It's not long book title. It's not apa tu? Fantastic Beasts and how to find them ataupun apa. So it's like very short, a very long title, right? It's most of the book title is quite short. Sustainable supply chain management, example, green is a new goal. So it's clear, it's concise, and it's basically reflect the content. Yeah, right. So this will be that. Practicalities, be realistic about your delivery date. So practically it's talking about the deadline and also the content itself, right? Delivery deadline, I cannot stress enough. Most of I do not want to say that it is the book chapter, it's not the chapter author fault onto that. It is basically we ourselves that we need to stick to the time frame. Most book chapter author that publish in the Emerald, when I talk to them, they do say that some of them, they say that they'll take the last minute lah. Last minute they will then write the book chapter, then they will submit to the book editor. After that, they say that, oh, there are room for improvement lah. Then they may delay another 1 or 2 months times just to finish their last minute write up. Yeah. So being the book editor, you will need to play the role as the gatekeeper. You need to play as the role as the timekeeper. My apology, being the timekeeper, to keep track of the time, the delivery times into that. Most of the time spans are actually getting the book chapter from the contributor itself. Then of course you also need to rethink about to strategize about the number of words. Number of words. Some people would actually write more than the number of words that been agreed. So some chapter example, they will ask to write 6,000 words. 6,000 words is not too much. If you have been writing research paper, 6,000 words is je lah, tak banyak sangat. 6,000 words is just normal that. Some may actually exceed into that because they tend to write more into that. But some may not even exceed 6,000 words. Could be too short, about 3,000 or 4,000 words. But 3,000 to 4,000 words is hardly a chapter. It's too short for a chapter itself. So you probably will need to re-strategize the number of words that are being used. Demonstrate that you are aware of issues surrounding clearing the permission to use third-party material. Do cites, do reference. All right. Please use the same methods that are using in the research paper: citations, quotings, references. Please use that. Do not go into the plagiarisms. Then right, if you are doing the proposal form, please do not list peer reviewers that you are from the same institutions, because in the proposal form you are asked to provide a list of peer reviewer that you would like to suggest to review your proposal. In that list, do not promote, do not suggest the names from your same institutions. Reach out to your friends from other institutions. Even better would be from the other country, from the European country, from UK, from the US, from Japan, example, right? From Japan, from Australia. Reach out to them, tell them that you are proposing a book, and you are actually including them as a peer review. If you receive this proposal, please help out into that, right? So these are something that you would like to just strategize. Yeah. The peer review process, I think I've gone into that. So it's basically the same thing. On the post peer review, basically it will be the same as well. Simply means that once the external reviewer have given into that, then you will need to revise. Once it revise, it will get into the approval by our Emerald team. Our Emerald would have a monthly meetings, fortnightly meetings to confirm which book will be accepted and what contract they will need to offer, and the contract and the sales and the royalty would there be discussed later, right? So basically it's that. So this is a productions overview, just to give you an idea. So once the manuscript has been submitted to the Emerald, so the Emerald will then send it to the production team. The production teams will take, from my experience, about 3 months times. I know that we actually written 6 months. So it just takes average about 3 to 6 months period of times. It will take the handover checkings, handover to the production team. So basically this would be the simple proofread by our production teams, mainly to check the typo error, the formattings, the all these particular simple error itself. We have creative team to actually design the cover letter. Then it will send it to typesetters to do all the type settings, the revision, proofing, and then we will then assign the DOI. Then we publish that as an ebook. Then we will also do that in printing. In Emerald, our format is actually in digital copy. So it's actually available in Amazon, in eBay, and other book platforms into that. We in Malaysia specific, we do not actually have a printing company to actually print the hard copy itself. But if there's a need to have a quantity of hard copy to sell to the students, we can also do that. But there's a MOQ for it. I'm not too sure the MOQ. I think probably about 100 books. 100 books for to be for MOQ for hard copy. But I need to check that. Do not hold me on that. I'll need to check on the MOQ. So there's a MOQ to print the books in UK. The UK then will then send over the books to our Malaysia office. Then we'll send it to your site itself. But we hardly do that. We only focuses on the digital copy. So congratulations, your book will then be published. So it's very similar to what I have mentioned. So basically that would be, go through the whole process itself for the book. Very, simple. Oh, okay, very simple things. Some of the useful resources where you can go through into that, some of the references and websites that you can actually go through into that, right? So these are some of the things to actually consider. As you mentioned earlier, Doctor, potential co-author, siapa nak cari co-author? Co-author is good, tapi some suka solo. There are some would really prefer to be a solo author. Some which are not confident enough, then they will actually bring in co-author itself. To me, I think co-author is a good option. It's a good consideration. It allows enhancement of the manuscript and also allows, different tasks to do, and so get somebody to actually proofread what we actually written. So that is my consideration. But too many co-author, I think you mentioned 10 co-author, too many co-author would be a bit difficult to manage and to too many mouth, banyak sangat orang bercakap kan, too many mouth, too many consideration to me. So again, yeah, so this is something that for you to actually consider into that. Allow you to work with peers, cross departments. For me, I would say that allow you to network with other guru from different university and different country. I always wanted to reach out to the Japan writers, reach out to the European writer, to Australian writer. So if you have a book, well, you now have the chance to reach out to them to say that I'm sure I got this book. I have this book scheduled to publish in Emerald. I would like you to contribute a book chapter. Would you like to do that? Into that. So this is something to actually network. So once you establish the network itself, who knows? They may be your next core researcher or core author for your research paper. That would definitely helps in your journey too. Well, we'll look at tenure. Well, basically this is basically about the scope of work and how long you need. Among all the core author, everybody also need to keep a strict timeline. Know what you need to do and know when you need to submit. Yeah. So in Emerald, as I mentioned, so things that we always keep looking for: impactful research that champion fresh thinking, diverse views and voices. We look for projects that have fresh approach, offer critiques of their field itself. Not all chapters would need impactful research. Please keep this in mind. There are so many chapters in a book. Not all chapters would need all impactful research. Some could be introductory, some could be conceptual ataupun framework, some could be impactful discussions. Yeah, so these are things we can strategize on our book. We need to think about the particular book itself, right? So these are some questions you're looking for our BME book: responsible management, fair society, future of work, quality education for all, inequality in society, gender, right, healthier lives, so and so. So this hopefully will give you some idea, some topics what Emerald is looking for, and these are some of the topic area that we are looking for. If you are into this, these are some things that you would like to look to. So these are the Emerald editings. Our UK team over here. and index also in the Scopus. All Emerald books are sent to Scopus on publications and should be indexed soon after that. So this would be some a good news of why publish with Emerald. Besides then, it's a free thing. All right. So I think basically that would be that. That should actually end our sessions. Before I end that off, I just wanted to this our brochure. Yeah, we have 3,000, 6,000 books right now. Yeah. So we have all these winner books dan sebagainya and the proposal form. So this is the last part before I open up for any question and answer. Correct. Talk is cheap. Which part, Doctor? Talk is cheap tu ialah apa?
No, just kidding. Everyone can talk.
Betul.
Yeah, but to produce a book, it requires a lot of effort, lots of sacrifices as well.
Exactly.
In terms of your time, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Talk is cheap. Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I do learn from my experience is that I hope everyone from Malaysia can publish a book, in either in Emerald ataupun in either. So that's why the book proposal form is an important step, and it's not just completing the proposal form, but it's the way we complete the form. There is a strategy into it. There is, tips and way to complete into that. If you are able to, I wouldn't say master, but if you're able to find way into that, that definitely would help that. So this is a form. If you are required to have this new book proposal form, you can either Google this, you can download on your own, or else you can. I will also send this to Hazim. So Hazim can also send this together with the PowerPoint later, the PDF of my presentation later. So in this particular form, just a quick go through with you if you're interested to know what this form entails. So the first part would be about the author or the editor. So mainly would be the book editor. Who is the book editor? Example, Dr. Romzi will be here, the contact and over here. So the personal website, kalau ada, autobiography, kalau ada, so these are some of the example lah. So these are some example. So if you need a second editor, you can then copy the same thing, paste it. So the question, boleh berapa editor? It can be from one, minimum must be one, it can be from one, or it can be up to the last that I saw is about six or seven. But too much is also a problematic. So we can keep, book editor normally, from my experience, I see it's between about 3 to 4. That would be what I have seen so far. It can be more than that, definitely. It can be also less than that. So this is the book editor itself, right? So this is just the book editor, very straightforward. Next thing, quickly go into about your book. Is this a book about a PhD thesis? Always write no. Emerald does not publish thesis. All right. So not just Emerald, most of publisher that I know lah, pun tak nak publish thesis, because thesis book does not bring any sales value. It's straightforward, does not bring any sales value into them. So hence, no, right? So is this book into book based on PhD thesis? Then no. So the title of your book itself, if it's a second edition, you can put in second edition. It's a first edition. If it's just a simple one, just put in simple. Example, this is a book title, Public Relations in Asia Pacific. You can also put a sub-theme into that. So this, you may seem that it's actually quite long. This is actually not too long because it's actually break into two parts, the title of the book and the theme of the particular book. You can do that, or you can also just put in the title sahaja, pun boleh. All right. But if you are proposing to the series of the book, example, advances in economic, example lah. So you're proposing to next year series. So that would be, let's say, volume number 20. So you may want to say, this is for volume number 20 lah, dan sebagainya. So brief summary about this particular book. The full book descriptions, the topic of the descriptions, the disciplinary sub-descriptions and the keyword itself, so and so. So you may see that these are all very similar, right? Summary lah, description lah, topic descriptions lah, sub-descriptions. So yep, this is very similar all in all. So probably you would, if you still remember, I was saying that if you can provide an abstract of what is this book is about, then you can actually put that into over here, either the full book descriptions or the summary over here itself. Then probably you can just summarize that in the other. But these are mainly the subject area and also the disciplinary lah. The subject area contohnya business, marketing, tourism, subdisciplinary on the responsible tourism, international business, leadership, strategic, right? So and so. Some list 5 keywords that best describe your book. You can put more than 5, but I think 5 would be just good enough. Interdisciplinary, if there any interdisciplinary subtitles for this particular book itself, do always look out for interdisciplinary. There will be always interdisciplinary in a book. It could be just as simple as 2 examples from the marketing to the business perspective, or you know, it could be from the IT and the management, project management in IT, right? Example into that. Example on the engineering. What we have already? There's a few. I think engineering and also on the sustainability, something like that, right? So again, you will see Emerald will always have impact. So they want to know. We want to know this book, what kind of impactful things, what impactful meaning that this can be contributed. If you have no idea, you know, what impact into that, my advice to you would be that you can start small. You can start from the UN SDG goal. How many goals are there in UN SDG? You can put in the chat lah. I can check up in the answer. So how many goals are there in UN SDG? So you can actually start from the UN SDG goals, or you know, you can even start from the our Malaysian government directions or goal, but that one is quite to our country lah. So UN SDG goal would be the best starting point from you to actually look into. This particular board is actually contributing to SDG 2, SDG 3, dan sebagainya. So right, so into that. Unique selling point, again, I was saying about the competition. There will be always competitions. Not always, there might be majority of time there would be have similarity books out there already. How can your proposal of this book is different from the rest? You do not need to write down the other books over here. I think other books are down somewhere around here. So you do not need to write other books over here, but we need to write down why a customer should buy your book instead of other similar books. But you can pinpoint 2 or 3 lah, of the book example. How other similar books example, book from who and who have this particular element, but we are actually focusing on that. Book who and who on this particular second element, but we are focusing on this and that, right? So table of content. Table of content, this is basically the chapter outline. I strongly advise you to use, you can either write down over here, or you can provide it on another Microsoft Word. Most of the time, I'll ask them to provide in another Microsoft Word lah. In another Microsoft Word, outline all the chapters, the content of the book itself. Table of content, chapter number 1. If you have category, then chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, category 2, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, example. Or if you do not have a category, that is okay. Chapter 1, chapter 2 to chapter 10, chapter 11. Each of the chapter, you do need to put in the title. I strongly advise again to put in either the summary of that particular chapter or a abstract into that, abstract of the title into that. All right, so that would actually help the reviewer and also me myself, the UK team, understand what is this books is about. Market and competitions from here, you probably can write down somewhere around here. What are the books out there that are similar to you and what are the differences your books with them? And over here, please define your audience. Please remember, there is no book that fit all. There's no one book fit all. Tak ada benda macam ni. One book fit all. Even textbook pun tak boleh fit all. So there's no one book that fit all the market. So you may want to take all, but be realistic. Be realistic. Your book itself, if it's research related, probably will be on the researchers, on the on some of the research community. If it's on more on the conceptual wise for teaching and learning use example, yeah. So it will be more on the students or academics, and so there is no for all. And why it is chosen to this particular audience, specific that into that? Is it because for research, for references, for future contributions, targeting UN SDG, sustainability and things like that? Ataupun, it is part and parcel of teaching and learning. It's not exactly the textbook, but it can be used in a teaching and learning environment. It can be used as a references. It can be and so. So if you hold a position in a university, example lah, if you are holding a position as program coordinator or deputy dean or even a dean itself, you may even put into here and say that with your influence, you may even promote this book not only to your own students, university, but also to the other schools in the country or in the region, right? Example, if example, if I'm from the dean of school of business, contoh macam tu, I'm sure you also know someone from USM ke, UKM ke, UM ke dan sebagainya, right? So like this particular book is actually good for teaching and learning, and not only for our students use, but with the connections with the other school of business from other universities, this can be also applied too. So this actually give value. This actually give the publisher knows that these books can be used, can be sold, to the other schools, other universities, not just in Malaysia, but in Indonesia or in other countries as well. Oh, over here, competing title. So you need to list down 3 or more. I would suggest more. I know you would like to use the minimum one, but I would suggest you to write down more. If you Google it, if you can find like 8 ke, 10 ke, 12 ke, probably you can put an average lah, about 8, 10 and things like that. But 3 is a minimum one. If you have time, if you do not have time, you could put 3. If you have time, you can put more, and always put in a few words. You do not need to elaborate that, but put a few words how these are actually different from what you should propose. So estimated delivery time, estimated words for your book, estimated number of tables and figures. All this is just estimations. This can be changed later. Even here, I might apology, even the table of content, right? Table of contents, if you have any questions on table of contents, you can also reach out to me. Some of the questions that I got before is that I have got my friend to contribute this chapter, this chapter, this chapter. Maybe once I got, this book to publish, my friend, due to his commitment, may not no longer able to write this chapter. Can I change this chapter with another chapter, or can I, revise this particular chapter into that? The answer is actually yes, but not to a big changes extent, and you need to inform our UK team. So table of contents and also some of these things can still be negotiable, can still be discussed. It's not going to be like fix lah, bukan fix mati macam tu je, because we understand that some chapter author, even though 3 times ke, 4 times ke, 5 times remind, tapi mereka pun tak boleh nak siap. They are not able to complete the chapter, even numerous time they're being reminded. So they probably need to forcefully remove them and find another chapter itself. So if this happens, then this could probably different from your initial table of content. So if this acceptable, the answer is yes, but not to a very big difference. And you will need to inform our UK team. So our UK team would be notified, and they would acknowledge of such challenges and issue and things like that, right? So this would be that. The review. So over here, we peer review our content. Please provide 3 names or even 4. At least 3 lah. If you have 4 ke, 5 ke, 6 ke, you can also provide into that. My advice is that do not use your own university. Try to use other university. Even better, please use from the other country, from Japan, from US, from UK, from France ke, from Australia ke, dan sebagainya. To even further helped that, do inform the reviewer that you suggested first. If you want, you can send them your proposal to them, say that, hey, I'm just submitting this to Emerald, I'm just submitting to this, and I've listed you as the reviewer. In case Emerald reach out to you to review into that, you probably could you please review into that. Do make some points for improvement, but do keep us as a revision. Please do not reach out into that. You can ask them for the help. Right, marketing and sales, this is mainly what I have mentioned, all about sales and marketing. How are you can see that speaking engagement, would you be promoting your own book? Are you a member of any society, or if you're holding any positions that would help to promote your book? I mentioned earlier, right, as a dean, and so on. So just into that. So how do you actually promote a book and things? So basically, all in all, this would be the particular proposal. I think that would be that. It may take time. I think over here, the most time consuming would be the table of contents over here. You do not, again, as I said, you do not as necessary needs to include the abstract. Sorry, need to include the full chapter. But summary or abstract is required, is you need to include along the abstract, right, or the summary, 250 words for each chapter or abstract, so that they will do understand into that. I think basically this is it. This is my last things just to talk about this on the Emerald new book proposal form. With that, I shall open question and answer to the floor. If anyone have any questions from here, any doctor has experience on book writings, if you have any struggle, perhaps you can voice out and we can learn together. I'm also learning, so we can learn together on see how we can improve into that. And yeah, basically that's all from me. That's all from me. I will stop sharing right now. Before we move, before we end the sessions, I just open up for Q&A. Any doctors, any students, any anyone's in the sessions here have anything to share or to ask perhaps? Right? I'm still audible, right? You can still hear me, right? One thing that I don't really like online is that sometimes I also don't know whether ada dengar ke tak. Right, thank you. If if there's no questions, or if you have any questions afterwards, perhaps you may want to have some time to digest on today's sessions. Today's sessions we basically cover about why publish a book, the process of a book publications. We also covers about the book proposal forms, what are things that actually required to provide in the proposal forms, and things like that. If there's anything during the course of your your process or your journey itself, if you require any help, I'm not to say I have much experience, but two heads is better than one head. So we can basically learn together and how we can improve lah. But in the end, our goal is the same. I also hope that anyone in these sessions, if you wish to publish a book, I hope that you get your book published, either in Amuro or in other revenue. Yeah. So if there's no questions, thank you, Dr. Romsey, for your sharing and your comments in the chat as well. And before I and also thank you, Encik Mahathir, for your earlier comment too, your sharing onto that. Thank you. With that in mind, then probably I would end the session for today. Last but not least, thank you, Hazim. Thank you so much, Hazim, for organizing the sessions. Thank you to Ms. Lee from the library for working with Amuro all these years. If there's any thing you like to pursue in terms of publications, either on the journal, on the cases, or on the books itself, feel free to reach out to me. With that, thank you so much, and the rain has stopped. Then I wish you all have a great day ahead. All right, thank you. Thank you, Hazim. I'll send you my PDF dengan the book proposal form. Nanti I email to you lah. Itu je. With that, thank you so much. Everyone have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.